Okay, how's it going, everybody? We're about to get started here. Got a little slight delay, but that's okay. Everything's cool. We got Lisa Raven on today, and I was trying to remember where I knew her from, and I looked at her page. She's pretty strong, powerful lady. I'm sure there's a good story behind it. We're going to get into that in a second. If these shows resonate with you, please share. We're getting severely suppressed at Facebook, and we're working on a solution, but we'll talk about that another day as the days go by. But yeah, if these shows resonate, please share it to your page or to one group if you would. And thank you for the continued love and support contributions. We're about to head across the country and get to work on the website and our independent streaming with some dear friends. And we wouldn't be able to do stuff, wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the support we had. So we really appreciate it. All right, let's bring on Lisa. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. And I'll put the let me put the link on the comments in case anybody wants to watch in Zoom, because don't always stay connected on Facebook. I'll be right there, Lisa. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Lisa. All right. I sent you a little note. It's going to say turn on your video so we can see your beautiful face. Okay, hang on. Let me. Oh my God, you're freaking me out. Okay, now I can hear you. How's it going in the UK? What's happening?
Hi,
Lisa Raven.
hi there. Nice to
Yeah,
meet you. Thank you
nice
for
to meet you.
inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I kept trying to. Where did I know you from? And now that I see your face, it's really freaking me out. So I don't know if it's in Dimension or it's in Facebook land or what, but I remember you from a few months ago. I do remember that. So I don't know if we interacted or I just happened to be reading your stuff or whatever.
We
So we
have
got to.
interacted briefly. Yes, we have.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I was kind of getting mixed up a little bit. Hello, everybody. We got 22 people in the house, or I think more than that. My phone's
Okay.
messed up. Yeah. So this is just a conversation. I know. You said you were a little nervous, but the thing is everyone seen. I've had most everybody when we get to that point in the conversation tells me that they're nervous, but it's just a conversation. That's all
Sure.
we're doing. We're just having a conversation, and that's we're just doing it in front of everybody. So I don't really follow anything. I'm not much of a conformist, but I like to ask people when we first meet them is, when did you wake up? I read your byline on your Facebook page, and it sounds very similar to a lot of ladies that have been on the show who, for years, have done work either alone or with very few people, including grid work, including the stuff you get into, including the dimensional experiences that make us question our sanity.
Yeah.
And they've been a little bit apprehensive in coming forward because of I guess, because of the energetic suppression in the cellular from all the things that happened, particularly to the divine feminine over the last few hundred years and even beyond that. But then they started stepping up, which, more and more every day, which is what we all need. But did you have a wake up experience? Did you have a series of traumas like all of us, most of us that were so lucky to be hammered?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Um, I was always awake though. I've come in awake, but I didn't realize how awake I was until I did have a serious trauma. Um, so when I was about 25, I had what we call a breakdown, but it was a breakthrough. And that was my first walk in experience. But I realized that before that, there was much more. I've always been a healer, I've always been able to see energy, and
Yeah.
I see it like a fairyland. It's can see programs running through bodies, through thought patterns. It's
Well,
yeah.
don't look at me. Don't look at my programs. Well, that's really cool, right? But at what point? Okay, so you had, and I love what you said. I think if I look back 8 years ago, um, I think, well, everyone in my family would tell you I had a breakdown, and for all intents and purposes, I must have had a breakdown to go homeless in the streets for 2 years by my own choice. But
Mhm.
that breakdown was a breakthrough. And I think that's what makes it kind of complicated for people when they wake up. And I love talking about this stuff because there's so many people waking up now and having breakdowns and breakthroughs now
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
really the same. They're really the same identical pattern to people like yourself. So I think it's good for them to hear what happened. But when, how long after you had the breakthrough, or what inspired you, or moved you, or directed you, or ordered you to start sharing? Beyond, like, people, on social media, to start putting your message out and your
So,
transmissions.
yeah, that's an interesting one because I took a long time to come onto social media. Like I took a long time to get a phone. Like it took a long time to have a computer. I just, it was about not being in the world really and just following what I did. I've always um, I've always been a healer first and foremost as a child. I've always been a healer, and then I got into Reiki. But when I my yeah, I mean, there's so much to say, isn't there? I don't even know where to start really.
That's okay. Just keep going. You're good. You're among friends here. You're fully supported. So you can
Bless
talk
you.
about anything. Hmm.
So I guess in the last 15 years, especially, it's been about sharing, about being pushed to be out there. And
Yeah.
for me, that was a really difficult thing because I didn't really want to, and I didn't really know how to. And
Yeah.
so when I first became or received a walk in experience, I cried for 6 months with pure joy. I'd never felt joy before. It was immense. It
Mm,
was like,
mm,
yeah, I'd never experienced such an amazing thing. And I think sharing has been a natural progression, really. I've been
yeah.
having a meditation group for about 15 years. So I've been sharing these, but it still wasn't out on media. But
Right.
yeah, so I think about 10
Good.
years now I've been doing grid work on, and it's funny how your guides and I've got a collective. They call themselves the
Yeah.
collective. It's great.
Yeah.
And so there's always a spokesperson, and they're from everywhere and beyond,
Yeah.
beyond. And
Yeah.
so depending on what we're doing, it's we're sharing something. But they've got me more into grids and crystals, and I used
Yeah.
to, yeah, and being
Yeah. I
able to
saw
share
that.
that cellular
Yeah.
level. That's what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I didn't know that you did that, and then I went to your page. I tried to, try to do some research, but I went to your page and I saw those. And there's another lady. I haven't been able to get her on. We talked about it. She does those all the time, and they're fascinating. They really are. Because so much of the stuff that we're receiving does not come in words,
yeah,
and so to see expressions, visually and audibly, that carry the information, like mandalas, or
yeah,
other things,
yeah,
sacred geometry. But the other thing that I noticed on your page, and I thought it was really a big bravo, was somebody uh, had made a comment. it was not, it wasn't like it was like an antagonistic comment, kind of, whatever. But I love the way you handled it. And you
is that
said,
is that the grid? Is that for the 5 6?
yes, it was on the grid. Yeah, it was on the grid. And then you told the guy, you said, hey, this is why I'm doing this. Basically, this is focused on aligning that, or bringing it into alignment. I thought that was a
Absolutely.
really cool way to handle somebody, because we all get that a little bit, especially when you're coming out. Now your story sounds a lot like Morgan's, because hers was 1999, I believe.
Correct.
And then there was about a 10-year period where there was a lot of writing and certainly a lot of daily downloads. I mean, like 8 hours a day,
Yeah. Yeah.
she tells the story, but then she was told, start sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
And she would share it, and there'd be like, two people, and she'd tell her higher self and the team, she'd say, hey, what the hell's going on here? And they're like, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Eventually the collective will start to align with, and now, like she's just kind of come out recently, or I guess resurged, like so many divine feminine are doing. And now there's 700, 800, 900 on each engagement, and it's crazy because it's the same thing you guys were writing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I guess that speaks to the collective, but it also speaks to the importance of the expressions from the divine feminine, because they carry something that obviously has been suppressed and we've been lacking in all of us. And and I think that's the big thing for me, is watching this happen over the last year or so. We've been fortunate enough to have a lot of women come out for the first time, on camera, and share just amazing things. Yeah. So now I want to ask you about your. We were talking to Mary Rodwell a couple days ago, beautiful lady, and she called it the super consciousness team. Some people
Perfect.
come on, they refer to the higher self, and they refer to this, they refer to that. But I really feel like mine's always been a team. They came in, 9 of them came in the door when I woke up. They all had different roles. They all had different things that I learned from them. But yeah, well, what does that look like for you? Like the team
Um,
that you
Okay,
what does
so
that look like?
as I've been growing and as I've been asking my own questions to know more about things, so I wanted to know what quantum mechanics was about, because I was working with magnets and crystals to make the grids, and I needed to know what I was doing, because I couldn't explain it to anybody if I didn't experience it. So I'd sit with Tesla, Einstein, and I'd never heard of Kepler at this point, and he came in with
Wow.
Michael, with Archangel Michael, Metatron, and Melchizedek as one team within me, and they taught me about quantum mechanics. And but more, it's not about being able to tell you about it. It's more about being able to hold the space so you can journey in it. So I had to journey
Yeah.
in it, and I had to go into protons and know about eggs and layers of information. And so because I was seeing all these energy, I never understood why I could see all this stuff. So I've had to work backwards, really, to understand what it is that I'm doing. So that's just, I guess, one team. And then I have bird tribes, I have Andromedans, I have Syrians, I have
Mm.
Pleiadians, um, Centaurians, and I've got
Alpha
beyond to go.
Centauri.
There's so much there that hasn't got a place, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I've channeled Ra. I honestly, I feel so humble and so grateful that it's possible. I can't tell you. It makes me cry to think. But I want to tell you that the voice that I sing is a voice of Sophia. So she wants to sing through me all the time. And it's immense. And I do this light language wherever I go. And, I do these
Wow.
sessions with people. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I really
Well,
love what I do, but there was a time that I really felt, oh my God, what am I doing? For quite a
well, I think
oh my
there's been more
God.
than one of those times, right? We had one like that 2 weeks ago, and we're looking at each other going, "What are you doing here? Why are we here?" um, yeah, and so like, oh, I'd love to, and it's up to you, whatever you want to do. I'd love to hear the Sophia song. I'm not big on labels, but I write poetry, and I have for quite a while. And when I first woke up, I had some guides come in, and like you did, there was a team of 6 biblical prophets, and one of them, Isaiah, taught me a structure of poetry, right, called chiasmus. Anyway, I was one of the other ones was Solomon, and I'd
Solomon,
never read the
yeah,
Bible. Yeah, I never read the Bible, and I was instructed to go find songs of Sophia by Solomon. And
fantastic.
I'm reading. I know. I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my God, they had this stuff in the Bible. It's like super cosmic erotica, you know? I'm like, holy crap. I mean, if you read it, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But yeah, so and now when you bring in let me ask you this first before we go to that. So like do you have a set routine and you sit down and connect or and you have to dial up particulars or specifics,
Not
or
anymore.
do they knock on the door and say,
No,
hey, we're
not
coming?
anymore. I used to, but I consider myself an empty pipe, and I'm
Mm,
available all of the time. They are so with me all of the time, and I can
yeah.
just, through higher self alignment, you do know. I mean, it's an immediate, isn't it? Higher self. It's a yes or no. It's there,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so it, like everybody, I think we take this space to learn about how we are and who we are in it and how we act. And I think I've spent many times now observing myself, being a witness to myself on many days. Go, how do I look in that space? What does that, that kind of
Mm.
thing. And over the years, I think that I'm now very comfortable to be able to just allow them to come through. I don't have, you know, the fear. I remember when I felt fear. I remember when I felt fear of that trance work and that stuff. And I remember
uh,
confronting that fear, going, I really want to do this, but what's in my way? But
yeah, and some of the essences and energies are they're so powerful. I remember the first time because it happens so rapidly, and I think that does for people. So it really messes with your sanity,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
remember I was sitting in a friend's apartment on the couch one afternoon, and it was about maybe 8 or 9 months after I woke up, and and I heard these two loud knocks. They weren't even knocks; they're like pounds. They pounded twice in the kitchen, which was like from here to like 15 feet away, and I just heard Archangel Michael, and it was like my heart started racing. I thought, what in the hell have I gotten myself into? Like, am I dealing with something nefarious, or it was that
He was my
profound.
first
Uh,
guide.
was it? Me
Yeah.
too. Me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah. In fact, I had the night that it happened was 1:11 in the morning. I've told the story many times. I'm not going to tell it, but the cosmic Christ appeared in the trees
Oh
behind my
wow.
house and started
Oh
talking to
wow.
me. So I had this big apparition of Jesus's face, and I knew it wasn't Jesus from the Bible. You know
Yeah.
how you just know that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this went on for several months. It went on for like 6 or 7 months, and I had all these other ones come in. But then, but I still wasn't buying into it. I was still like, okay, something's going on and whatever. I just wasn't buying into it. And then one night, I sat down on my bed and I had a little problem, and I said, "Can I trust this path?" And this glass, like this, was like half full of tea. It exploded. It exploded and shattered like somebody shot it with a shotgun and went all over me. And I heard again, it's Archangel Michael. You need to realize,
What's
something's
happening?
going on here. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's a power, and I would say that's the one that brought me in as well. Now, a lot of people talk about in their journey, of course, these teams and different channels of connection that they have and essences that they work with, galactic star family, and the whole 9 yards. And then you also have people that have dimensional experiences that take on some physicality, like Morgan and I have had. Star family, dragons in the room, Merlin appearing in the room, and there's two people
Yeah.
looking at it. So now you're going, okay, wait a minute, are
Yeah.
we? But what I'm getting at is a lot of people talk about how as they progress in the journey, that these things become embodied within them, and
Hmm.
that voice starts to become more of a singular voice, or just a one clear channel, like you said. And I don't know, how's it been for you? Does it feel like some of these energies are external, are they embodied within you? I mean, how do you feel about that? There's no
There
right
used to
answer. I'm just
before I cleared my fear patterns and before I moved into more of a unified, I started looking at my own morphogenetic fields and looking at the things that were sitting in there. Because we all have things that sit in spaces. And I'm about looking at the gaps. We have gaps. If you take something out of your body, you make a gap, whether it's a program or a thought or something. And I'm always filling myself with light. So
yeah.
at that stage of um, guides and everyone coming in. Sorry, what was your question again? I just had a something.
Well, that's okay.
With the dragons
This is the
and
essential.
Merlin and all of that. You threw me on that because I have that as well. I have ascended masters, so it's like
Yeah,
are they one voice? Are they external? No, not really. But yes,
I
it's
know it's we. I'm
no.
just
They're
trying
not.
to
Of
like.
course, they're not.
Well,
They're
I
not.
know yeah we can't like we can't understand it. You know, we can't understand it. Somebody was on the show a couple days ago, and it was a lady, and she was talking about how well, because we were talking about how it's not words, you know, and it is sometimes, but I mean most of the time it's impressions and feelings and knowings. And anyway, she was saying how the way she had gone through it was that it was being communicated to her and embodied in her without words. So like the body, you know, we received its details and the cellular and all the different things. And then later on, you know, you try to explain it and everything. But I guess what I was getting at is, you know, I guess there is no set way, you
So
know,
I've
there is
found
no set
my
way.
way into I know what I can tell you. I've found my way into being unified with everything so that
Mm,
no disassociated pattern comes in. So I
right.
started with Archangel Michael actually, and I said, show me that which I am in you and show me that which you are in me and meet me in the middle. And that for me it was like a
Yeah.
boom. I had this boom, and then it was the same thing with a dragon. You know, I've been having these experiences with dragons and riding them, and had this massive compassionate heart, and these eyes keep looking at me. And I was doing a session in my therapy room for one, and I saw my dragon arrive, and I watched this curly tail come around me, and I went, so am I an aspect of you? Are you an aspect of me? How does this work? And she said, and what's the difference? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so it's those,
Yeah.
it kind of frees your
Yeah.
mind up from that.
Good answer.
Yeah,
That's a great answer. Yeah, that's we've heard that a lot when we
right.
connect every night, relate, and we've heard that. They're like, what difference does it make? You know,
Yeah.
kind of
And
like, yeah,
so
yeah,
it's trying to get past that place where we're separated all the time so that we are sitting in unity. And I guess I've done that quite a lot now. I completely trust my team. I completely trust myself. And that's where it
absolutely.
leads to. And you get to that place so that you are all one thing. You know, Source Light is me. This diamond recalibration
Mm,
network is me. These codes that
mm.
come out, it's me. You know, and then I get my little moment where I go, oh, I'm a tiny little human. It's not possible that I can.
Yeah, right.
It's
Do you?
just not
I,
possible that these
I,
miracles happen
yeah,
with these people. It makes me cry a
I,
lot still, you
yeah,
know.
that's okay. You know, I cried last night. I cried so much last night.
Oh,
I can't even. I can't even. It was profound. It was. Oh my God! I don't want to get on it. I want to ask you two questions. One is about morphic fields. But
sure.
before we talk about that, I want to ask you, you know, there is a lot of inquisitiveness from people, and rightfully so, because that's how we were built. You know, how does this work? You know, she can do that. I can't do it. He can do that. I can't do it. I can do this. They can't do it. That's also there because the ego plays a big
Yeah.
role in all this for all of us. And this powerful information coming down it makes you go, oh, wow, you know, I'm pretty smart or whatever. But what does it feel like when, just so you know, as a point of uh, reference for people, and I know it's your experience, but what does it feel like when the Song of Sophia's come in, or anything comes in through you? And you brought up the thing about the human. Oh, here I am, this little human, and I'm getting all this other stuff. And does it feel like it gets pushed to the side and observes? Does it feel like it's part of the channel or part of the song, the human
Um,
aspect?
yeah, so I have to put myself to the side, and I've got a technique for that as well. And I allow so I do this in my sessions with people as well when our ego comes up. And so you can literally put your personality 3 steps to the left, and you can put
Mm,
7 harmonic rings on it, and it's having its upgrade, and it's just sitting there
mm,
waiting for you while you do whatever you're doing. And then you can have those 7 harmonic rings as well, and you're having the same upgrade. And it's
mm.
really nice. And then you can claim that moment back and be yourself. Sometimes I speak to my ego saying, just be quiet for the next couple of hours so I can just focus and just be
Yeah,
here. And then we can fall
yeah.
apart in a minute when it's like, oh my God, was that all right? That kind of, is
That's a good practical approach. I mean, I remember a year ago, Morgan, we talk about this stuff all the time. She said, and I said, the human's the hero, and I still say that today, and I totally believe it. But she said, we were just breaking down a little bit. She said, the human is the manager, manages all of these aspects, and the ego is one of them.
that's a really
And
good
the
way of
inner
saying it.
child is another one. Now, you said something that really struck me. You brought up morphic fields, and anytime I've heard people talk about that, and Morgan deals a lot with that, is for instance, like she wrote a post the other day. She said, I had this course, and I tapped, and the guy was teaching it, and I couldn't understand it, so I asked my higher self, how can I understand it? And they went into the morphic field of the information he was working with, and where he put out like 4 or 5 courses, she put out like 45, like like in 2 weeks, and it
Fantastic.
was all direct from the morphic field. uh, but you said you take a look at your morphic field, and I thought, wow, that's, I never heard of that. Now maybe that's just another way of saying something that I might be familiar with. But and then you also mentioned about the gaps. Can you explain the benefits of looking at your morphic field, and if it doesn't involve the gaps, can you explain the gaps again?
So I'll tell you a story in how I found it out first. And then, so I was having a meditation one day, and I didn't know that I was underwater, and I was in this amazing fluidic space. And I realized that there was this big crustacean in front of me. And it was big, it was black, it was absolutely massive. And I went, wow, you're under the water, you're a crustacean. And I could hear it talking to me. And I said, how are you talking to me? And it said, polymorphic resonance. It's like, and I had all these
Wow.
experiences and I went, so show me how you talk. And it opened this mouth like a beak, and it had all these pink that you would never expect, like little tongues coming out. But
Yeah.
from that experience came this knowing in my body of gaps around my muscles, gaps. And because I wanted to know where the sound was, how can it talk to me? How can I talk to it when I'm not engaging myself? So this is how I've learned. I needed to learn to trust my guides and myself. So I said,
Yeah.
tell me words that I don't use. Give me information that I don't know and let me go and research it,
Ah.
and then and then I'll download it. And then I realized that everything is downloadable. But there's
Yes.
lots of other stuff as well. And so I've learned through, so we all know we have aura and many layers in our aura. Well, the
Yeah.
trees talk to me. I'm such a big advocate of trees. I think I am a tree. I will tell you that. I
That's the
think I
number
am
one.
a really big, massive
Trees
tree.
are number one. I'm with you.
Oh,
See, there's
absolutely.
so many. Yeah, totally.
Well, so they talk to me about mycelium, and what I get from my understanding is that our fields of consciousness are like a mycelium network. It works exactly the
Mm,
same of the fungus, and so whatever we've got going on in us, it talks. Everything has a consciousness. Every
yeah.
hair on your body has its own consciousness, and you can talk to everything and anything.
Yes.
It's entirely up to you what you want to engage with. So being able to see this stuff and hear this stuff is being able to move yourself out of the way to hear. And I don't mean
Yeah.
hearing audibly, I mean hearing inside, because you can feel
Yeah.
it. Feel it in your body,
Yeah.
can't you? And, you know,
That's a
Does that?
great that's a great explanation because, and again, I'm of course I'm married to someone who's speaking the same language. The words are a little different, but it's exactly what well, it's kind of cool being married to an energy practitioner, because I'm not an energy practitioner, and learning all this stuff. But the fact that you can speak to anything, you can. That's why I was intrigued by what you said about looking at your morphic field. So when you look at your morphic field, these gaps you're talking about are parts of your field, I guess, if I'm getting this right, that you feel with light. Feel light being
So the
information that you.
gaps, yeah, so the gaps could be if I've done an energy session on myself or on anyone and I've removed a program, okay, because you can remove a program of thinking, of past life experiences, you can just remove it by, I seem to be able to wave my hands, and it's very Palladian, I realize. It's and I can move energy, and I didn't, it took me a long time to realize that that was what was happening. But yeah, you can see it, you can hold it, you can touch it, and so you can with our programs, our programs of thinking. We can change our perception by engaging your conscious and unconscious mind together, and
Yeah.
showing in your body. We have a body diva, and if you get your soul in your body, so this is my soul alchemy bit. If you get your soul into your body, ask your body diva to take control of the movement within you. She will show you exactly, or he will show you exactly where you're running a program, or where there's an implant, or where there's whatever there is. I mean,
Mm.
as whatever's going on, and you can remove it, and then
And
that's a gap. That there, whatever you've taken
okay,
out is a gap, and then you
now
fill
you
that.
have a get.
So it can't. So you,
Now,
sorry.
so no, it's okay. We have a little bit of a lag. I'm not interrupting you on purpose. So when you empty the container or remove the program, there's now a gap. Does the light automatically come in, or do you go pull something down specific?
No, these are what I call Sophia codes. I fill it with brand new light that's coming into the planet. So I'm moving you and your energy field into a higher vibrational state. I say it's not even very,
I
very
know,
loose.
I know.
It's not
Yeah.
me. I don't think I could do anything like that if it was just me. Um, but what happens is the light comes into your body, and it then starts to work and react with everything that's going on there. And then you start to look at other programs. Go, oh, I want to go as well. There's lots of entities, lots of things that are attached in the end, and then you start to light up. But there's a point. If somebody's really embedded in denser programs, there's a point in their energy field during the session that they go, oh my God, I really see that, or really feel that. It's so
Hmm.
important for me that they experience, so that
Yeah,
they know exactly what's going on. I don't do the work, they do the work. I
that's
facilitate.
right.
Yeah.
Spoken like a true new healer. Well, I wouldn't say new because you guys have been around for a long time, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a bit old
I
now.
mean, but no, I don't mean it that way. I mean that you were doing it before, and a lot has been discussed over the last year about about the feathering out or diminishing power of the frequency of the old teacher student yogi guru thing. And that's not to take shots at that served us, but there's something seems to have changed as we've gone like from linear to quantum. And I wonder, as a practitioner, have you noticed in, let's say, the last year, particularly this year, have you noticed any type of change in the clients that are coming through? I mean, in other words, is there less to remove? Are there fewer programs? Are there fewer attachments and so on? Or does it
Um,
look like business?
yes and no, because in some who are just, so I have a few clients who are just waking up, don't
Hmm.
understand, but have a longing to, and that's new because before they couldn't see that far.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to that is the eyesight of everyone has become new. And so everyone on
Yes.
the planet has received new lenses of
Yeah.
perception, so that they can see further and they can then tune into a new experience. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. One of the things that amazes me, well, and I've gotten over it, I mean, because I know, like you, I was always awake
Yeah.
and I've always had this thing going on, but it was always just me and the universe, right? Now, we walked into a wider space where there's more, like this, people talking about it, and you see evidence of it all the time. But what always intrigued me and amazed me is like with people like you and like Morgan and others I've run into, where they have these very detailed things going on, and I always question mine, like I hear go do this and I know I hear it, but some of this stuff, like where you're looking at the intricacies of the body or the cellular, and all this stuff like you're describing, it's so like, like just it's so specific. Mine is, and I think other people can relate to this too. Mine seems to be getting more and more and more subtle. It's almost like if I was the same person 6 years ago, or this was happening 6 years ago, because it's so subtle, I would have never followed it. But now it's like so subtle. You know what I mean? It's just like there's like 90, 100 points here, or 100 roads, and there's one little subtle road. And on one hand, you can barely detect it. On the other hand, it's so different than everything else, and that's what I follow. Like if it's like
Call that
something.
following your truth.
Yeah.
You know
But
your
I
truth.
mean, do you ever, I'm just curious, someone like you, do you ever like go, did I hear that? Did I make that up? Or are you at a point where you
I
have
don't
a great,
anymore. I don't. I
yeah,
used to. Yes, I do. I don't anymore. Completely trust what we do. I completely
yeah,
trust how it's going to work. And there are sometimes and I'm in the middle of a session going, I'm not sure where this is going, or even if they're
yeah,
receiving anything. And then all of a sudden it falls into place. Everything just always falls into place. The
yes,
meditation I do, it used to be a teaching meditation, and now it's a galactic meditation through just because that's the way it's moved into. We have ships arrive, and I never think, wow, did I just see that? Did that really arrive? Because someone in the group, because we all have a share back, someone else has clocked that and seen that, and then it all
yeah,
falls into place. You know,
yeah. So
I
you have a group that's been getting together for 15 years, right? Is that what you said?
actually, it's there's still some old ones that come, but they're
Yeah,
all new all of the time. It's not
yeah.
any set particular one. Some people come if they can come. I think if everyone come who's ever been over those years, they wouldn't fit in my home.
Yeah, right. But what I was getting at, somebody was on with me, a lady was on with me a couple days ago, and she was talking about that. Oh, it was Esme Avelin. And she was talking about how, same story. I've been doing the work. I was told to go a little further, tell more people, and it was just like yours, just like Morgan's. And so, what I always wonder about now is like as I've been cohabitating with Morgan, and we're doing this every night, and we have things happen. Now, a lot of times she'll close her eyes because she doesn't like seeing it, but I see it. I liked it. I like it open. I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. But the times when she's had her eyes open, and when we've had undeniable, physical emanations, apparitions, translucent, maybe a little bit, not totally solid, but you see them in detail.
Yeah,
And so that's like a game changer. It's a game changer, and I know it can't be confined to two people having a relationship that are on the same path. I know that energy is available. You know what I mean? It's like that part of the morphic is like planted in the earth. And I wonder if we're going to see more and more of that. Now, in your experience with this group that's been coming over to your place, and it doesn't matter who was there because it's the people that are there with the same
that's right.
intention. Have you had, not necessarily apparition, but have you had where everybody in the room's like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you hear that? I mean, have you had experiences like that with two or more people?
Many occasions. We lots of phenomena. Yeah. You know, my first phenomena ever was a pair of glasses that manifested right there in front of me. And yes, I did think I'd gone mad then. That was in
Yeah, right.
1997. Something, yeah,
Hmm.
totally. It was like, yeah. And I have
Yeah.
no idea where
Well,
they went to. They came and they disappeared. But I did manage to show them to my sister and my dad, who was around at the time.
yeah.
So they were there for somebody else to see. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think where we are now is this tipping point that it's imperative that we have this phenomena arrive in a bigger way, and we have to have these experiences that wake us up, because we're just about to change into this brand new place, or we already have
Yeah.
really, but you know, for everybody else
Yeah.
who's catching up, they're now in a place where they want to believe. So what they're
Yeah.
going to do what we did. How do I believe? How do I know this is real? So and there's more and more on the planet getting to that thought pattern.
Yeah.
So more and more
Yeah.
things is happening for
I
every,
know it is.
there's more and more people are
It's
thinking the same thing.
it's like, what do we all, we're about to get on the road again.
Oh wow.
Blessings from and to our team. Yeah, but and it's on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to do it, oh my God, I'm gonna start crying now. What the hell is going on? but but for me to do it all those years alone, you know, that's okay. I can handle it. I was homeless for 2 years. I don't have a problem,
I've
adjusting.
been there too, you know, a long
But
time ago.
that doesn't surprise me. There's so many things that are connected, and I could go right down the list of some of the
Yeah.
things you said.
Yeah.
But to do with another person, or to do with the woman, that I'm spending my life with, that's a little bit more. But the one thing that got us all to where we're at was listening. So regardless of how deficient we might have felt on an individual level, compared to other people or whatever the case is, we're listening. And how that happens is between the universe and the person. But what I was getting at, the one thing, and it doesn't really make me feel any better, but like, the one thing is if it doesn't make sense, do it. Like we're in Hawaii. We have our first house, our only house we've ever had together. We're finally together after a lot of struggle. And we wake up one morning and we're looking at each other, and she's like, are you getting what I'm getting? I'm like, oh yeah, we got to leave. And so 8 days later, we're gone. Now, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. You lose your stability that you finally have. But one thing I find is that if I'm doing something that doesn't make any sense, then you're on the right track. And a lot of people are getting that call right now. Have you gotten that? Are you pretty rooted where you're at?
Uh, So yes, I've been getting that I'm moving, but I'm not getting that I'm moving yet. I haven't finished in Bristol yet. I'm
Yeah.
so I've been bringing the light. I've been stretching what I would call the goddess in Avalon, or the energetics in Avalon have been working through me all the way to Bristol. I've got work still to do on the seals here, on the wells. I
Mm,
want to do some well work before I get to move, and that's my
mm,
next year. So it'll be about well dressing, but it'll be about bringing the goddess of the waters back to those places. Because I think some of the programs that are still running in certain places, because these seals are still there on that waterway. So I think there's some work there to
mm.
do. But I do get that I'm going to be moving. I can't tell you when, but
Yeah.
yes, I get what you
That's
hear.
okay.
I'm so yeah. When that happens, I'll go yeah gladly, because
Yeah.
I know that whatever's been happening in my life has always fallen into place, because it should. Each place I've moved
Yeah.
to, it's
Yeah.
been angelic.
Yeah.
I have an angelic thing that says, yeah, this is what you should do. And I go, I trust. I just trust. I trust is
Yeah.
my biggest thing. I want to live my life in trust. So important to me to be trustworthy for myself. And if I
Yeah.
can trust myself 100%, that's all I need, because I know that what
Yeah.
I'm doing is right. I don't have to question myself. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yes, it makes total sense. I love simplicity. Thankfully, the universe, in my personal downloads, I was
Yeah.
always spoken to me in very simple, straight one, two sentences.
That's
And I
another
like
Archangel
the way you're,
Michael thing. He says, keep it simple, silly. That's
that's,
what he used
he
to
doesn't
tell
call me silly. He calls me something else. It's a little bit off color, but no, but no, I love the way you explain that, because when you get right down to it, when you get past the spiritual and the scientific, and you get right down to what
me. Yeah,
people are trying to explain this to me, how do you, like you were talking about people waking up, it's like a personal integrity. It's
yeah,
like, you talk about trusting yourself. like trusting yourself to maintain
Yep.
this level, well, actually an expanding level of integrity, because as your awareness grows, and I think that's something that really is not talked about enough. And you've just inspired me to start talking about it on
It's
these shows.
integrity to truth itself. That's what
Absolutely.
we are. That's what we're about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel it's so
Yes.
important. It's a really big subject. And the more that
Yeah.
we can put into place that we trust, why would we not trust ourselves 100%?
Yeah.
Why do we do something
Programs.
else? Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Programs.
If you
Yeah.
can answer
Yeah.
that, then you can find those programs.
Well, and I think what I was getting at too, what you made me think about as well, is we talk about how do I get that? How do I become that?
Sure.
And I think maybe the second part of that topic is you got to understand, and I don't usually say things like this is the truth, but the more you get, the more responsibility you get, and there
Totally.
is a responsibility there. So imagine being God, goddess. Think about the responsibility that you would have to the truth, right? The integrity of truth of integrity. Yeah, so that's a good subject. That's a real good subject. Thank you. I'll get some shows out of that.
Wonderful.
Maybe
I
we'll
look
do
forward
another
to
one
it.
together. I'd love to work with you again. Yeah, yeah, because we could talk for a long time. We haven't even scratched the surface.
I know. I
Would you?
get.
I know, and we will. We're gonna be heading. God, why am I so emotional today? I don't know what the hell's going on. Last night was a big
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
That was a big one. I had snot running out of my nose and stuff, and they were sitting there with your partner. And
yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So we're gonna
Bless
be
you.
stabilizing. It looks like for the balance of November and December, probably 6 weeks, and we're going to be working on the website and getting our independent stream out there. So we'll be able to, if you'd like to, in the next few weeks, come together again. Did you want to do anything? Do you want to do a blessing? Do you want to do the Sophia song? Anything at all? Anything you want
Sure.
to talk about?
I could do some light language if you'd like. I could ask to see what comes. Would you like some light language?
Absolutely, whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. 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 So you breathe into your heart space and just imagine that you have a 13 petal fractal flower. And each fractal awareness of this flower, each petal is a self of you. And for some of those petals, they will be open. You can just ask how many petals of your flower are open. And the first number that comes in your head is the right thing, always the right thing. And all those other petals that are not open, just imagine that you're uncurling them and they're all golden. And you breathe yourself into your pearl of wisdom. So Sophia is teaching me about the golden pearl teachings. And she talks through light language that bypasses our ego mind. So if you'd like to just have a little listen and see what she says in her light language. Amuna taurana kiyama unaturana makai amuna turamui anoshuna tosunto ora ka I imana tosunto ora a emiono shuna tosunto ora ka I iamaka awa ona tasana ke e Amatai. Bringing in some Sophia codes full of light, full of joy. Una tosamaka iana tosantaka orana ti amaka. Shunatu sunta ura ura miki ianata santa ka ura I miako a. E mianatu sunta ura I ianata. E me eranata santa ka. Okia enata. And I feel like lots and lots and lots of dragons are connecting up in the waves of consciousness. And I feel like dragons bring in this new conscious awareness to our conscious fields of old codes, ancient antiquity codes that we already know. And so if you give yourself permission to just breathe in these codes and allow these codes to just work with you. Na tu santo ora a e me era na tu santa kao e era na ta shanta awaka. A little thing.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's like a thank you. It's like a breath of fresh air.
Whew.
Very, very good. I really enjoyed that. And
Thank you so much.
oh my God, I got some bells and whistles going off in my head, in my ears.
Yeah,
That's how I usually get stuff is through tones.
yeah,
I don't always understand, but one thing I do understand about the tones is they're always confirmation. They're always like you need to shut down and listen to what's being said. Or sometimes when
beautiful.
I'm talking, they'll go off and say you're channeling. Just keep going. Don't let your mind get in the way. So it's always a confirmation of truth, basically. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
Thank
and do you now? How can people? We'd love to support you.
ah,
Um,
thank you.
how can people find you?
So
And what do you offer? So
sure.
people will know.
Um, so I'm writing a website. It's taking me an age to get it finished, but it's nearly
Don't
there.
feel bad.
I'm
Mine's
hoping.
been going three or 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it's been blown up like 8 times already. So
I, that makes me feel good. Sorry, that makes me feel better because I'm exactly the
it
same.
makes me want to cry. I've just been like handed
Bless you.
my ass has been handed to me on a platter by
So here
Archangel
you
Michael.
are. Here's your solution. That's your solution. That's it.
Mm,
It'll just happen
that's
now.
so,
So
yeah.
so I am writing a website and it will be finished. I aim to have it finished before Christmas. So starting 2020 in a big year. But you can
Well, you know what? Stay in touch with me and Morgan and let me know because I think we're on the same track and I'm serious. And I don't talk about it
brilliant,
anymore because
brilliant.
Archangel Michael's energy told me to keep my mouth shut. But it is, I see it happening. But I think that it's actually happening for a lot of people, not
Yeah,
necessarily a website, but like they're in other words, like, well, let me ask you, do you get the impression that like you said about your sessions, everything falls into place, right? Like, but there'll
yeah.
be this lull or whatever, and then all of a sudden everything falls into place. Do you feel, some people have talked about it, do you feel like we're about to be put to work? And when I say that, everyone that's been on this journey like you has some idea of their role, of the piece of the
Yes,
puzzle they hold, what they do. And so, two things. One, do you feel like it's coming? And two, one of the reasons I do is because I see these things aligning.
yeah.
Like I can
It's
see them
arrived.
happen.
It's arrived already. We're already doing it. It's not that it's coming. We're doing it now. That's why you're doing your show. That's why I'm sat here talking to you because I think that
Mhm.
this aligning with all of the older workers, all of the older ones that have been here, it's now bringing that into new place. It's what Shekinah
Yeah.
says about the Blu-rays. We are now
Yeah.
building this level of support because these are the
Yeah.
ships that are arriving for us. We've got our new old network and it's arrived, and
Yes.
everyone who's raising
Yeah.
now their consciousness need what we've brought into these grids,
Yeah.
because that was our job. We said that we would do this, and I get that more
Yes.
now than I ever have before.
Yeah,
We're ready.
I remember. Yeah, you're talking about Shekinah, right? Shekinah Rose.
Yeah,
Is that who you're talking about? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. She's very good. Well, I'm very close with her. But anyway, so I remember because every time we would go do a show, something would happen. Like, like Mother Mary would come in, or just these different things would happen. But it was always a big Blu-ray thing. And I remember one time I was having a show with her, and it was probably about 6 months ago, maybe. And what you're describing is what I saw. Like I'm sitting there, because this all happened on shows. I'll start seeing dimensionally and higher
Yeah.
selves and all that. And it showed the grid. It showed like the new grid, and it was like an outline. But in the structure, in the structure of that grid was another grid, and it was all blue. And I could see it lighting up,
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's the same
Perfect.
thing you described. Yeah.
I've been
So you
seeing that
think,
for a really long time. I've been in
yeah,
we, all of us, millions of people I expect as well, have been encoding that grid for the last, what I know of, as 8 years, and making that grid, and with the whales singing the new songs and the sounds, and a whole heap of other beautifuls.
yeah,
We're ready. I see that grid now as ready and
yeah,
open, and now everyone can wake up because that grid is ready around us.
yeah,
Ready. That's what I get.
yeah. That's right. That's the road that doesn't make any sense. Just keep
but
going
but
down
it
that
will.
road.
I think
I
what
know.
we
I'm
can't
just
find
joking.
words for now, in a year's
Yeah.
time we'll find words for, because we're
Oh, I
setting
think it'll.
the. I think
Yeah.
that it's arriving. you know
Yeah. I think it'll be sooner than that. That's just
yeah,
my opinion.
well, yeah, no, I
And
agree.
you're right about that too. Because I remember when I was downloading. Because I downloaded. When I woke up for like 7 or 8 months, and then Archangel Michael came in after he pulled my head out of the sand, and he gave me the word Soulogy. And he said, and I said, well, what is that? And I said, because it looks very familiar. Like I know that word. And he's like, it means the other side of truth. And this is what you do. So we'll give you the pieces, you put them together. We're not going to tell you how to do it. But one of the things that he told me was there would be new words created to like you're saying, to explain what these things were, and yeah, so that resonates. I was going to ask you something before we get out of here. I was going to ask you something. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. You talked about the morphic field, looking at your own morphic field, um, and of course you talk about removing the stuff, the gaps coming, and all that. Where do you see shadow work? Do some people, when they talk about shadow work, to me it's a very, I want to say, a spiritual thing. Other times people talk about it, it might be a scientific thing. Where do you stand with that? I'm just curious.
We're still unified. Everything is there. We have to look at how much we're willing to see of ourselves and how much we want to see, and they're two different things. Willing is
Yeah.
about the programs we run that stop us, the self-sabotage programs, everything that we have been contaminated with, and conditioned with. uh, but everything is you. The dark light is still light. It's
Yeah.
all you. Every
Yeah.
part, whatever we've done it all. And so, which part of you? So, um, I try and explain it this way. You're not any part of that. They're all parts of you. You're not your voice. You're not your thoughts. You're not.
Mm,
They're all just parts of you. So, which part of you wants your attention? If you were a great
mm,
mother or great father, which part of you needs loving right now? Because that's the one that's the loudest, or the one that's playing up, or the one that's making you feel so
mm.
shitty that you can't cope with the day. But that aspect
Yeah.
of you right there needs your attention. And if you just move away from that, you see that that shadow part is a small hurt part of you, and it's small because actually you're looking from your big self, looking down on
Yeah.
a small part of you, not a whole. We get
Yeah.
mixed up with the feelings, don't we, about how when we're emotional, it becomes us. We believe, oh, I feel this, and then you're encompassed
Mm,
by it. But that's not
yeah.
the truth. It's not the whole
No.
truth. And so,
No.
really, it's your shadow is about saying, look at me, please, or
Yes.
don't look at me, please, because I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah. Don't look at me.
Don't.
Yeah. That's no, but that's another great explanation. And again, yeah,
Thank
there are
you.
no coincidences. So if I look back to what happened last night, I realize as I'm listening to you, there's a there's that emotion where you're tied to the story and tied, like you were saying. And then there's another one, and that's what happened to me last night. And I think people could relate to this. So it's like when there's like I don't know if I want to use the term final clearing, because I don't know if there's any final to anything, but
Sure.
it was a big, big, big deal, in my personal journey.
Bless you.
But when it came in last night, the tears were like, I don't even know how to explain it. These are the words that will come out next year, but it was above reverence and above honor and above awareness. It was like, wow. And it was and I got very clearly, this isn't just you. You're actually clearing space with maybe with the team of incarnated and not incarnated,
Sure.
of the masculine. Like it
Yeah.
was a big, big masculine thing. I mean, I'm
And you're
still
not
freaked
doing
out
for
about it.
yourself, you're doing for the whole male population on the planet.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
felt it last
just
night.
for you,
I
it's
swear
for
to God.
all. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm
Well, I
I'm
got to tell you.
grateful to hear that. Really, it's
Well,
a big
I'm
deal.
telling you,
Yeah,
it was a mess. My whole mustache is full of mucus. It was just like, but, I got to tell you, it really, there's time and there's knowings. Like I know, like Morgan and I are doing stuff to bring in this energy, to anchor, divine union or whatever you want to call it. And there's been times that I've like, you know what? I think I'm working with the frontline team of men here, and we're clearing some space up. But last night, it came in, and I knew it. I was like, wow, wow. Even some of the tears were because of that, because I was like,
sure.
wow, I must, you know what I mean?
I
So
appreciate that.
that's a good feeling. And I think as an individual goes, so goes a collective. So that type of energy and those type of experiences have to be happening. But it's because of people like you that have been holding the fort down for the last 15 or 20 years and waiting for us. So you guys are the epitome of patience. That's all I can say. And many other things. It's really a great pleasure to meet you again.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
it really
May,
is. And
may I
mm-hmm.
because I never
Mm-hmm.
if people want to have sessions with me, I'm totally available
Yes.
online, offline. I do all kind of shamanic work. I'm a quantum light weaver. I do magical child sessions. I do this amazing auric lift off where you can lift your aura. My guides taught me something amazing. You can lift your aura in layers and clear all of the ancestral patterns. That's pretty
Mm.
hectic. Mentoring, I'm available, and I totally love my team. They are available to work with, whoever wants to receive. And I
Right.
do these amazing grids as well. And
Yeah, I saw a couple of
they're
those.
quantum upgrades. So you can order a grid that will give you a quantum upgrade, and it really is an upgrade package. The crystals will talk to you without a doubt. And more. I mean, we always do more. What have you got?
I don't know. Well, okay. We thought we were getting out of here because but our car broke down. So we're having to, get money for that. And so we were kind of like dejected. Like we want to get on the road, because that's how so much of this journey is, right? You want to,
Yeah.
the stagnation, well, it feels like stagnation because we're stuck in the linear or it's still like running and you get anxious. But then we realize, like you're supposed to be here for 3 or 4 more days. And so, the magic continues. And so whether it be bears or dragons or Merlin or galactics, but there's always a reason for everything. Yeah. Great,
Absolutely.
great collaboration. I really enjoyed it. It really got my
Thank you
day
so
started
much.
off well.
It's been really
Yeah,
lovely
we'll do.
to
Yeah, and if
talk
you,
with you.
I would encourage everybody to check out your page. There's a couple of grids in the last few recent posts, and reach out if you're looking for energy work. If she resonates with you, I mean, we're here to support each other,
We
and
are.
this is a
Thank you
period.
so much.
It is a period of co-creation and collaboration. Um, and I just want to say, so since we're being very, since you've opened me up here, um, we are going to launch this platform, and it is going to be an independent server and an independent stream, and will not be
Fantastic.
controlled And I'm just asking everybody, we've had for the last year and a half so much love and support and contributions, and I'm not asking for anything material. I'm asking for your energy and your love and alignment, because we need all the help we can get. So
Absolutely.
thank you for letting me say that, and thank you for spending the morning with me. Peace out
Thank,
and good night to you
thank
in
you.
England. And we'll do it again if you're open to it. I'll tell more
I
of
look
you
forward to
guys.
it. Yes, please. I want
Okay.
to tell you about my
So,
crystal skulls and how they arrived.
oh, I want to hear that one. I want to hear that
Wonderful.
one. I
Okay.
had never got into that discussion with anyone.
They
Yeah, I'd love to hear
talk.
that.
Oh my goodness. They are
Maybe we could bring them on the show with us and do something different.
perfect.
Would you be okay with
Perfect.
that?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Okay, I'm gonna tell her now. Get you back in. All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye
See
bye. And
everybody in
thank you.
yeah, we'll see you in 45 minutes with the next show. Thank you. Bye bye.